Monday morning. Biggest takeaway from Saturday night, sold-out crowd, and what we saw in 4 quarters and 2 overtimes?
Good game for the fans, kept them entertained, I think. Not so much for us on the sideline, but no, it was a tough game, no doubt. Those guys played really, really well, and it was a battle, and it's nice to come out with a win like that. It's just a perfect example of every single week that you take the field, you have to be ready to play for 4 quarters, because everybody we play has the ability to make plays and do good things. And so, it's just nice to come out with a win. But in every game, in any and every game, there's lessons to take away. And I usually, first thing I tell you is, okay, I don't want to talk about that anymore. I'm on to the next one, no matter what, really, But there are things each and every game. I don't care what happens in the game. There's opportunities to learn from things, and as coaches, players, the whole thing. Each experience is different every week.
And as you guys have talked about that the last couple of days, how have you seen the players respond?
Well, we don't know yet. We just had meetings yesterday, but I'm sure they'll respond well. The meeting was good yesterday, and it's always an opportunity. We call it Tell the Truth Sunday, and it's an opportunity to look in the mirror and see what we could do better, see what we did well, different things. Because there's always good and things always good in every game, and there's always things you can improve on. I don't care what the score is or what happens. That's the way it always is, And so that's what we try to do on Sunday, is really look at those things, and because the game plan is different each and every week, because you play different people every week. You don't play the same people every week, right? And so they're great learning opportunities every game.
Coach, looking ahead to Arizona State, quarterback Drew Pine could be available this week or next week as he tries to get back from a hamstring injury. Jaden Rashada started last week against OK State. So do you plan for 2 quarterbacks? If so, how do you do that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just think you have to prepare for their offense as a whole. They're a very talented crew, big physical offensive line, and they have a lot of weapons, and so you just really have to prepare for what they do on offense. I'm not sure that they do, a lot different with either quarterback. Your offense is kind of your offense. Maybe a little bit more running from one than the other. I don't know. But you always have to be prepared for everything.
Coach, I'm curious if you have an opinion on Arizona State's self-imposed bowl ban and what it means for their program, if you think it's a setback or the recruiting violations that they might have had under the previous coaching staff?
I don't know. That's not for me to comment on. I mean, that's their internal thing, whatever they have going on. All I know is what I see on tape, and they're a really good football team and highly motivated and well coached, and all those other things off the field. I don't really, that's none of my business really.
I know this is a different Arizona State team than the one that you faced in 2018, but that was a really pivotal moment for this program to cap off a 12-win season when you guys beat Arizona State in the Vegas Bowl. Any memories from that game that you'd like to share on what it meant to beat Arizona State and get that 12th win?
Well, it's just, it's great to, anytime you're in a bowl game, to be successful. It's a great way to cap off a season for your seniors, for the program, for everybody really going into the off season. So it's no different. We had a lot of respect for them then. We have a lot of respect for them now. They're very talented, and that's a long time ago. This is a whole new game, whole new time. We have a new team. They have a new team. They're a great program. They always have been.
I want to ask you one more question on reflection. Since today is 9/11, you've got a lot of players on the team who either weren't born yet or might be so young that they don't remember what this day means. Do you spend time talking to them about it, and if so, what do you say?
Well, we don't see the players today, actually. Today's their day off. We've already spent time, Coach Coyle and I have spent some time this morning reflecting on that. His brother was a firefighter there, and so we spent some time this morning kind of reflecting on what we were doing at the time, and it was a I believe it was on a Tuesday, and you're in game plan mode and you're kind of deep into it, and then all of a sudden things start happening. You don't really know how serious, and all of a sudden it turns really serious. And I remember that of trying to go through game planning and wonder what is going on, and it was a really weird feeling, very eerie about what was happening, very serious. And I think in the beginning it was like, okay, it's maybe an accident or something, and all of a sudden it got really bad. And so I told Coach Coyle this morning, because his brother was there. We also lost a great bulldog. Otis Tolbert was in the Pentagon, and he was on the team that I played on. He was one of our fullbacks, and so I always remember Otis on this day.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
I wanted to first ask you about Mikey King. Yesterday, he had a chance to watch the film, and what was his response to how he performed on Saturday?
As anybody, each week, things you can learn from, and things he did well and things you can always learn from. No different than any player. The quarterback's the same. The only difference is he's got the ball in his hand every play. So there's a little bit more focus on him because he has the ball in his hand every play, and but it's no different than anyone. Any position on the field can always take a good look at what they do on each play and see how they executed and how they could do better, and no different for him.
And so in that vein, looking at the entire team, what was the biggest issue that you saw in film from Saturday's game, and what's the biggest thing you have to fix going into ASU?
You have to execute, and we can't have penalties. We always try to stay on schedule, and we had 4 holding calls in the game, and so you're not going to stay on schedule with holding calls. We had a long drive in the first half that they did a nice job of converting on third down. They had a 21-play drive, which I think the time of possession was 11.5 to 3.5 in the first quarter. So we have to get off the field. But all the way around, in every phase of the game, there's always something we can improve on. And so I don't think there's one thing that you can say we have to do that. There's a lot of things we can do better, as there is each week. Every single week, it's the same thing.
And my last question is, what is the current status of Malik Sherrod? He missed last week's game, and I'm curious if it's a long-term injury that's going to keep him out.
I'm not sure. He's walking around fine. I'm not sure, what it's going to be like. We don't see him today. He'll be in treatment as he was yesterday and today, and we'll see how the week goes.
Coach, unlike Purdue, you've got 2 games worth of film to watch on Arizona State. What stands out so far?
Well, they're a very talented crew, no doubt about it. They are big and physical and a lot of speed, and they do a really nice job, and they're very well coached. So it's the Washington State defense, right, that was one of the best defenses in the conference last year in their conference. And so they have a lot of really good players, a lot of speed on the field, and the offensive line is big and physical, and they, as always, they have speed outside. And so, pretty much all the way around, they're a very gifted crew.
You were asked about the quarterbacks, but Jaden Rashada specifically, what have you seen from the true freshman and what his strengths are?
He does a nice job. He can hurt you with his legs. He's tall. He's got good speed, so when things break down, he can extend the play, which always causes trouble. But then he can pull it down and run too, So he's a talented guy, and accurate thrower, and so he's for a freshman, he's really doing a nice job.
I don't believe Fresno State's been to ASU since like the 1930s. There's some red waivers that are planning to be there, and just what was your experience in being in the Pac-12 in that environment that you can share for Fresno State fans?
It's a great environment, it really is. The fans do a nice job there. It can be a very hostile environment. I played there obviously many times when I was in the Pac-10, Pac-12, and they can really get it rolling, and great environment, great place to play. If our fans go, obviously there's a lot to do in that town. So, but yeah, the field is awesome. They always keep it up great. It's a great facility. It's an exciting place to play.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, morning.
Morning. We've gotten Coach Tedford's perspective, but from your viewpoint, what stood out about Saturday's game, and especially on the defensive side, of course?
Well, I thought that first thing I'll say is that I think that Eastern Washington did a heck of a job. I think their coaching staff did a great job preparing them, but it wasn't a surprise to us. I told you guys last week that this was a very well-coached team, a very good offensive team, and they went out and they proved it. They probably played their best game of the year so far, but I think that team's going to be very successful because of the way they're made up. But we got out there and we had a big stop on 4th down, which was a big play, and I felt good about that. And then we had that 20-play drive that Coach was talking about that. We just, I wish I had a couple of calls back. I made a couple of calls that I wish I didn't in retrospect, but, that's every game. You think something is right for that particular time. And on the long yardage play, I shouldn't have blitzed. We blitzed them, and that ended up to be converted. And then, they just held on to the ball there. But I thought we settled down the rest of the half pretty much and kind of came in at halftime feeling solid about what we were doing. And then the second half, they converted some plays. They didn't run what we had anticipated they were going to do in the run game. They changed up their run game some, and that kind of had us a little bit unsettled. And at the end of the day, we missed again on a couple of 3rd downs, but we didn't tackle well in the second half. But it wasn't a matter of effort. Our guys were prepared. I talked to the defense yesterday, and I had no question about, people like to talk about, well, it was a letdown and this and that. I don't buy into that. I think we just got caught in a real tough contest in the second half, and like good teams do, found a way to win at the end. And I think we're going to learn from it, but I give them a tremendous amount of credit for the way they played and the way they coached.
You guys set such a high standard on defense at the end of last season, and I know there's hope it was going to carry right into the season.
Mm-hmm.
I know the scores have been somewhat inflated by special teams and overtime and that, but overall sense of where the defense is right now, is it up to the standard you anticipated?
We're never satisfied, but I'm pleased with the way the guys are preparing, the way they're getting ready for each game. I think we'll continue to get better as the year goes on. We haven't made as many big plays as we were making at the end of last year, and I hope that can change here relatively soon. But at the end of the day, I think we'll have to, step back and evaluate it as the season progresses. But I like where we're at. I love the way these guys work and how they prepare each week. And I know I expect them to come out and play our best game here Saturday night.
Speaking of that, can you share what you're seeing from Arizona State's offense and what stands out to you?
Sure. They're a solid offense, with a young quarterback. They've been relatively, I don't know if the word is conservative somewhat here in the first couple of games. I think that's partly due to the fact that they've got an entirely new offensive